Hey everyone, it's Denise Brown, and I am thrilled and excited to introduce you to one of our presenters at our upcoming conference, which is Our Resilient Spirit. It's a virtual 2-day event, April 9th and 10th. And as the title suggests, we are really focused on resilience. I started thinking about resilience in October, and then I started a resilience project on our website, caringourway.com, with the goal of having a conference in April to talk about what we've learned about resilience. So joining me today is Carlos. He's one of our presenters at our conference. Good morning, Carlos. Good to see you.
Same here, Denise. Thank you for having me.
So you're going to talk to us about how we can stay in the present moment. And I'm curious as to how you see that connecting to resilience.
That's a great question. So I'm a writer, so I love words and I love to understand the root meaning of words. So I looked this up. The root meaning of resilience was derived from a present participle of a Latin word called, and I'm going to mangle this, resiliar, which means to recoil or rebound. And then later in time, the word was then used to mean springing back. So that implies that there's a certain elasticity going on. And as we all know, dealing with these days of COVID, if one isn't resilient or has the ability to be a little bit more elastic than we used to be, we're not going to be able to deal with whatever life is throwing at us. So in general, life is hard, but then you add the component of COVID, and then if you're a caregiver, it becomes quadrupled the things that you're dealing with. So ultimately, one of the ways that I've found that I need to deal with things, not only life in general, but any type of caregiving that I do, has to do with staying right now in the present moment. So what does that mean? It means not being bogged down by what happened in the past, or not projecting, or as a friend of mine says, catastrophizing about what's going to happen in the future. And of course, our minds are really good at that. Our minds are great at imagining what the possibilities are, but also taking from what happened in the past and applying them now. So if a bunch of bad stuff happened in the past, that can kind of clutter what's happening now. And my advice is to say, stay right now, moment to moment to moment, and you can deal. You have the capacity to deal.
Yeah, I love that. I often think about how we try to manage a future that has not arrived, meaning we decide, oh my gosh, because something has happened in the moment before this, I can see how next week is going to be really hard. And so then we try to manage next week, which hasn't arrived. And so then it takes us out of the moment, which is where our power is, interestingly enough. So if we're worried about what could happen next week, the best thing we can do is stay in the present moment and talk it out with someone, implement a solution, do something right now. That's where our power is.
Exactly. Well said.
And I think the worries are something that can be really difficult for us to manage because once the worries start, they can really gain steam. So, how do you manage your worries so they don't take over?
That's a great question. And of course, human beings, we deal with that. We deal with the anxiety, and again, a lot of it's based on what's happened in the past, things we remember that trigger us, things that we link together in our mind from what happened back then. And of course, we go forward too, like we just explained. So that all adds up to one kind of big ball of worry. And so what I've learned is, and as amazing as this sounds, and it really is amazing, to live in the present moment means to understand that colors become brighter, smells become more fragrant, whatever love that's present in whatever relationship you're dealing with, be it friend, family member, becomes more inflamed. And so how does that happen? Well, how it happens is if you are truly present, which means you're not distracted, you're not bogged down, all those things happen. Literally, I'm not joking. Like I really have been trying to make a habit, and I'll explain why, to live in this moment so that everything becomes so much sweeter. The love becomes so much sweeter, the gratefulness of what's happening. So just so that you understand, my wife was diagnosed with a terminal illness in 2018. It's called Huntington's disease. Then the following year in 2019, my young adult daughter was also diagnosed with that rare terminal illness. So if I think about what's going to happen to them, the suffering that they're going to go through, my head literally will explode. I really feel that in my mind, that it would literally explode. So instead of projecting like that, I just say, you know what? We're dealing with whatever they're going through right now. And in dealing with that, I'm saying, I'm so grateful that she's here. I'm so grateful that right now the suffering is not bad, because she's early 40s and it usually advances the older you get. So in understanding that, my gratitude levels go up, and anytime that goes up, your heart just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the bigger your heart gets, the more you're able to deal with whatever is going on in the moment. So let's say, God forbid, something bad was happening in that present moment. Um, because of my awareness of just dealing with it in that moment, and of course, my heart being inflamed like it is with gratitude for all the things that are happening in that moment that I feel are blessings. And trust me, there are plenty of blessings that happen in the present moment. Then I'm able to deal with it in such a way where I'm not worried.
So what you've really demonstrated to us is how you use resilience so that you have the energy for what could happen. And
Exactly.
your resilience comes from staying focused on the present moment. You know what else I think is really fascinating? You brought us into the present moment and how you described it, and it did slow down time for me. And when we are worried about what we're losing, and oftentimes we worry about losing time, our future is not as long as we want it to be with family members, for instance. But if we slow down time in the present moment, we actually gain time because we're not fretting or worrying. We're right here and we're making these connections, these meaningful moments that will matter so much for us. So, in essence, when we take care of ourselves in the present moment, we actually do something really great for ourselves, which is take care of the future because we have comforting memories about how we were fully present in the moment. We didn't waste
I
time.
I agree. That's beautifully said. And honestly, when you try to do that, and believe me, it's not easy. It's a habit, and habits are formed by habits, right? So I've been intentionally trying to form this habit of slowing down. And what happens is, and you kind of alluded to it there, is everything that happens becomes so rich because you're actually there. Like you really are there. So the memories then become sharper and the love becomes more immense. And oh my goodness, like years later, you can mine for that in kind of like the storage room of your heart. Because of course, like you still want to live in the present moment in the future. But having said that, though, all our memories are contained here. But if they're contained in such a way where they're positive and they're intense in really good ways, then wow, what a great thing to dip into when you carry that around right here.
Yeah, I love that. So you're going to be presenting on April 9th. You are our second workshop of the day. Give us a little teaser about what we can expect during our time with you in your workshop.
Well, I think the best way I think that people learn is through witness. And what does that mean? Well, I can kind of act like a scout, like I've kind of gone ahead and trying to understand what all this means. So I've been working on this since 2018. And I'm telling you, I work on it on a daily, in a daily way. But I mean, excuse this pun, but also like in a moment to moment way. Like that's literally what I try to do, moment to moment to moment, to live this out. Do I fail? Of course. Am I getting better at it? Yes, because I'm making it intentional. So having kind of immersed myself in this mindset, I want to report back and say, yes, this is possible. This is possible because I'm human just like everyone else. And so if I can do it, believe me, anyone can do it. So that's one thing. Second thing is I want to inspire people. And the only way I've heard this recently, the only way that people change, or not the only way, but one big way that people change is to is through either desperation or inspiration. So rather than you getting to the point where you're so bogged down with worry and despair and all that, all those kind of things, that I will inspire you so that you don't reach that point. And then the third thing is I want to offer tips to be able to say to you, like, hey, try this or try that. And in doing these various tips, you can start to shift from projecting or living in the past to staying right in the now.
I love that. I love that. So we're going to spend 50 minutes with you, Carlos, on April 9th, virtually, which is just phenomenal. So we'll be able to reach everybody. And you're our second workshop. And on April 9th, we start at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Carlos, I am so looking forward to this. Thank you so much for being with us today and giving us a little promo, a little feature of what we can expect, a teaser, so to speak.
Thank you, Denise. I appreciate it.
Thanks everybody so much for watching. You can connect with Carlos on caringourway.com. You'll also be able to connect with our group that talks about the Caring Conference, Our Resilient Spirit. And again, that's April 9th and 10th. It's virtual. It's free. If you'd like to join us for CEUs, you can earn as many as 12 for a flat fee of $20. And you'll find more information about which professionals can receive CEUs at caringourway.com. Thanks everybody so much. Looking forward to seeing you on April 9th and 10th. Bye-bye.
Bye.